All right. Well, we're actually going to do what I said I was going to do. Today we're reviewing Shadow of the Colossus. The Colossi themselves. Well, I'm not going to say the Colossi are difficult. They're really not that difficult. There's just a little things about each one that makes them different from each other that I just want to talk about the main interactions with them, how to defeat them, how to get on top of them, and how to do the things that make them tick. Because this isn't going to be a deep dive, if you want a full review, go watch the last video. It'll be up there somewhere. This video, just how to defeat them, how to figure them out. So we're only going to be setting up, I think, 4 ground rules. So you have your stamina bar that you need to worry about. Clinging onto the colossi, they will swing you around. Climbing, swinging, being shaken off, it'll all use up your stamina. Swinging your sword to do an attack will sap up your stamina. So be on guard about your stamina bar. It is the yellow bar in the corner of the gameplay. Next up, we don't really have to worry about health too much. Unless you're playing in the hardest difficulty, fall damage really is not an issue here. Normal, easy, don't have to worry about that. Fall damage in hard, you might have to worry about it there. Number 2, you have your sword. Your sword is your waypoint finder. It is what you use to locate where the colossuses are. I'm not going to be going over that. They're super easy to figure out. Point it in the direction of the map and just go in the direction that the light is pointing you in, and you'll get to it. When you actually are at the colossus, I'm not going to say don't use the sword to figure out the sigils. Sometimes it's a little bit difficult to figure out where they are. So it's pretty much self-explanatory. Next up, we have our bow. Do not forget, we have a bow, we have a sword. If you're playing on controller, it'll be this button right here. So switch between your swords. The sigils will only activate if you're holding your sword. So if your sword is sheathed or you have your bow out, the sigils will not come out. So do be mindful of that and very much remember that. Your bow is only used to attract or distract the colossi. That's all it's used for. It's basically just an annoyance to them. And whatever we're on right now, notice the eyes of the colossi. Blue means it doesn't really care about anything. Orange means it's aggravated and angry at you, the player, or the horse. Sometimes the horse. So be mindful of the eyes. And usually glowing lights on the colossi is something that you can attack. So we'll get into it right now. Alright, starting up with colossi number 1. This is technically supposed to be just an introductory colossi. So it's not really there to do any damage to you. And it's very easy to complete it. All you have to do is run up to its left leg and you'll see some fur on it. Fur, moss, I don't really know. It just grows on the colossi. Jump up, attach yourself to the colossi. The first sigil will be an activator sigil. It'll be on its leg. Stab it. Make your way all the way up to its very head. And then proceed to stab away at its head. And it'll just die very quickly. I feel like we're just going to get demonetized with the amount of dies and stabs we're going to be talking about. We're not committing murder here. We're just talking about how to defeat some colossus. Very simple. It just basically teaches you how to play the game, I guess. Second colossi. This one is where it gets a little bit tricky because you'll actually have to aggravate it and have the colossi follow you. This is a mammoth colossi. It's pretty big. Well, they're all pretty big. It's a 4. It walks on 4 legs, and all you have to do is shoot some bows at it. And shoot some bows at it. No, we're not just throwing the whole bow at it. Shoot some arrows at it. Get its attention, and eventually it will kick up on its hind legs and prepare to stomp at you. Your goal right now is to shoot its feet. The underside of its feet will have a yellow marking on it. Shoot the yellow marking, it will topple over and land on its hind leg. The sigil, once you run over to the leg that it's kneeling on, run up the leg, attach yourself to the fur, climb up. First sigil will be on its head, and then it'll knock you back, and the second sigil will be on its back. Third Colossus. This is where it starts to get really annoying, and I kind of don't fully understand why they decided this was the best way to do this Colossus, because not only do you have to make your way to the Colossus, there is a point of actually getting to the Colossus where it's on a giant pedestal in the middle of a lake, and the pathway towards it is broken. Don't worry, this is intentional. You have to make a leap of faith onto the platform. You will make it, and if you miss it, you'll have to start over again and swim back to the beginning of the path. It's kind of annoying, it's kind of a pain, but you just have to do it and you'll get to the other side. Once you're actually on the other side and in the middle of the arena, the Colossi is a giant sword-wielding Colossi. Well, I wouldn't call it a sword. I mean, would we call that a sword? I guess we could call that a sword. Very simple. This is where I kind of got hung up when I first played it, and I had to look up a review how to figure it out. The Colossi will swing at you. It'll do two actions. It'll swing at you, or it'll stomp down at you. If it stomps down, that's not what you need. You need it to fully swing at you. And swinging at you doesn't mean when you first start out, not the dirt. You have to be standing at the very middle metal center of the map. It's a raised metal portion, and your goal here is to get the Colossus to swing at you, slam into the metal portion, and then the armor will break off. That is when you can finally start to climb up the Colossus. You'll run away from the metal portion onto open ground, and then have the Colossi swing at you. It will swing, it'll get its sword stuck in the ground, and your goal is to run up the sword and attach yourself to the fur before it gets back up. It shakes you off, this is where it kind of starts to get annoying, because if you're playing this for the very first time, figuring out the movements and figuring out how the best way to cling onto it and not worry about your stamina, this Colossus will finally be where you'll be worried about that more than anything else. This Colossus will have a couple of footholds in the shape of like platforms that you can stand on to regain your stamina bar. Its sigils are on its head and on its stomach, so make your way around the fur, figure it out. You got this. I believe in you. Fourth Colossus. This Colossus is actually kind of very easy to beat. Unlike all the other Colossuses, it will generally follow you at the very beginning. It will come up to you, and your goal is, you'll notice that there are underground caverns in the surrounding area. Your goal is to run into the cavern and make it follow you. There are two ways to beat this. We're only going to talk about one way because I find that to be the most easiest way, and the other way kind of is a little bit tricky because of how sound and movement works in this game. My recommendation, run to the cavern and run to the other opposite side facing away. The opening to the cavern will be facing away from the Colossus. So your goal is to run out, come out of the way, and then shoot at the Colossus from the opening. Eventually the Colossi will walk towards you. It's not really very fast. It will walk towards you, and your goal is to continue shooting arrows and then duck inside the cavern and just wait at the opening. Eventually, the Colossi will bend its head down, and pendulums, necklaces, dangly bits will eventually come in way of the opening. Your goal, jump out of the cavern, hop onto the pedestal, well, hang on to the dangly things and climb your way up. You will have a sigil on its head that you can start working your way towards. Stabby stabby, you'll do a little bit damage, eventually will go away, and then the second sigil will be an activator sigil on its back. Take out the activator sigil and make your way back to the head to finish it off. Very simple, very easy. The fifth, Colossi. Okay, this is my very first favorite Colossi in the game. There's 3 of them, and this is my favorite one. It's a bird in the middle of a giant lake, and your goal is to swim to the center of the lake, and the Colossi will pay zero attention to you. Your goal is to stand on top of the pedestals that are just above the water line. There should be about 4 or 5 of them. You'll see them dotted around the landscape just in case you ever fall off the Colossi once you're on top of it. You don't have to swim all the way back to the center area. You can go to the ones that are just shallow enough that you can basically just hop onto. Your goal, once you're on top of the pedestal, shoot an arrow at the Colossi and keep shooting at it until you get its attention and its eyes turn orange. Once its eyes turn orange, it will dive towards you. It will start flying and then it will dive towards you. Your goal, you'll notice that it has 2 wings. Well, not 2 wings. It'll have fur on the side of its wings next to its head. So your goal is to basically just jump up and attach yourself to the side of the wing. The sigils are on, well, if you start on, no, the sigils will be starting on the left wing and then the right wing. So make your way from either side, and then the last sigil will be on its tail. If you ever fall off the bird, be sure hop back onto the pedestal, restart it over. This is honestly one of my favorite ones because it feels the most unique. There is another flying one which is also my favorite, but this one feels more like what Shadow of the Colossus should have been. 6 Colossus. This Colossus, it's kind of tricky. It'll be probably the only one where I'll be like, okay, it's kind of very annoying to figure out where it is. It's in the forest area, underground. It's in the forest area on the map next to the desert in like that little pathway area. Your way underground, and when you're underground, you will find yourself face to face to the Colossi itself. Your goal, make your way from where the Colossi is all the way to the very back, farthest area away from the Colossi. So you're going to turn around and you're going to run. You're going to run over a bunch of walls. There will be footholds and handholds that you can climb up. So make your way up. Have the Colossi follow you. It will destroy the walls along the way. This is intentional. This is a part of the thing. Try not to take any damage and make your way to the very back wall. The very back wall will have an enclave. An enclave? An enclave. It will have an enclave. Duck under the enclave, shoot a couple of arrows, and eventually the Colossi will get curious, get angry. It will probably throw a punch at you, but what you really want it to do is to just bend down and look in your area, and its beard will hang down. Your goal, jump out of the enclave, climb up the beard, and its sigils will be... The sigils will be on its head and back. So if you're starting on the beard, you'll make your way to the very head, take out the sigil, and then make your way to its lower back and take out the sigil there. Just be mindful of being thrown off and just worry about your stamina bar. There are points in where it's shaking that it will stop and you can just stand up to regain your stamina. But if you do fall off, do the whole enclave again. And this goes for literally all the Colossi, by the way. If you ever fall off the Colossi, the way you got onto it the first time is the way you're going to get onto it this time. 7th Colossus. This is my second most favorite Colossus in the game. Colossi in the game. Because it feels, honestly, the second most unique. It is a water Colossi. It's a giant eel in the middle of a giant lake. Not the same lake as the bird, but a different lake. Blue light will lead you to it. Your goal is to swim in the middle of the lake and gain its attention through swimming. You're not really going to be able to use your sword or bow for this one. Just keep swinging. It will eventually notice you and it will come towards you. Eyes will turn orange. It'll come your direction. Your goal is to dodge the electrified spines on its back, and then eventually its tail will come above the water. Be sure to be in the right position as it does, because it's kind of tricky if you miss it the first time. Make your way, swim either to the left or right of wherever you feel like you've dodged, and the tail will come up, attach yourself to the back fur, and then it will start to swim underwater. Your goal is to just wait it out until it comes above the water line and just make your way towards the electrified spines. you will have 3 spines, and behind each spine will have a activator sigil. Your goal: stab each sigil once. You do not need to stab it multiple times. It literally doesn't do anything. Stab it once and then make your way to the head. There'll be wait, no, I think it's 4. Maybe 4? Might be 4. Yeah. Maybe 3. Just take out the spines, and then you'll know you'll have done it right if the spine's electricity turns off. Make your way to the head and keep stabbing. If you ever do it pretty quickly, and you can pretty much take it out in one attempt, but if you do fall off, or if it does go back onto the waterline, because eventually it will not stay above the waterline for too long, it will go back down and try and suffocate you and shake you off. So detach yourself and try again. And that's pretty much it. It's very self-explanatory. It just feels really cool when you're doing it for the first time. 8th Colossus. This is probably one of the most easiest Colossi in the game. It's just a little bit tricky to understand how to do it the first time. I did have to look up a guide on how to do it. Yes, I know, me. Yes, I had to look up a guide. It's very simple. It's a giant colossi in the middle of a coliseum. The coliseum will have 4 to 5 levels to it. You'll be on the topmost level when you first enter. Your goal is to use the stairs to get to, I would say, the 2nd level to make it very easy for you. But if you're daring enough, you can do it on the 1st level of the coliseum. Not the center area, but just the outermost 1st level. Your goal is, when you're standing there, the colossi will not be reacting to you. Your goal is to shoot an arrow at it. When you shoot an arrow at it, it'll do one of 2 things. It'll either shoot poison at you, which will mean you'll just have to change windows, or change wherever you're walking. The poison does kind of hurt, so don't stand in it unless you like pain. If it does the 2nd action, which will be running up the wall, it will climb on the wall, and you guys know how much I love things that climb on walls. No, it'll climb up on the wall, and your goal will be just to jump into the center arena, and then take out your bow and shoot its 2 legs. I would say shoot the 2 legs on proportional to where the body is. So if it's on its hind leg, shoot the hind leg. If it's on its lower leg, shoot the 2 lower legs. Don't like alternate them, because it literally kind of doesn't do anything. Just shoot. If you're gonna shoot the hands, shoot the hands. If you're gonna shoot the feet, shoot the feet. Doing this while it's attached to the wall will force the colossi to detach itself and fall into the coliseum, and it will be falling on its back. This is really good for you, because all you have to do is just climb up onto its back. There is no shaking off that it will do. It literally cannot do anything. It's literally just a turtle that's just succumbed to your very whims. So all you have to do, climb onto its back. It'll have 2 sigils that you'll have to take care of. You can do it very quickly on one run through if you're accurate and you know how many swipes that you have to do. If you have to do it a 2nd time, just redo steps 1 through 5. And that's it. That's pretty much it for all 8 very beginning colossi. I think all the colossi are very easy. It's just that the beginning portions of it, there isn't so much going on to tell you exactly what you have to do and how to defeat each colossi. There is no waypoint that tells you that you have to force it to climb up the wall. There is no waypoint that tells you that the colossi is going to raise its feet and then you have to shoot its bottom legs. Or there is no waypoint to tell you that you have to run into the cavern and then have the thing search for you. It feels very much like the game wants you to learn by yourself, and it's very much a puzzle without a lot of clues. So that's what this video is basically for. I'm here to give you all the clues that I was not told in the game. There are a couple of clues that the game will try and give you, and the Black Mist is kind of helpful. It's just very vague and very not helpful if you're in a very stressful situation like a lot of these colossi will put you in. So that's it for me. Make sure you like and hit subscribe for this button so the algorithm. Wait, button. No, make sure you like and subscribe so that the algorithm knows to promote my stuff. That's it for me. Have a kiss, have a hug, and I'll see you guys later. Love you.